Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Durant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing in FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
At the National Civil Rights Museum, history moves us forward. The question remains, how does history move you?
Keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom now.
Shinedown, Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum, Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Live from the Built Ford Tough studio at FedEx Forum, it's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Gary Parrish.
All right. I'm here. My name is Gary Parrish, speaking to you from Midtown Manhattan, New York City. Bennett Doyle back in Memphis, producing the program. Glad he's with me. Glad you're with me. Hope you're getting through the day best you can. And I hope you're ready to talk some hockey, of all things, because hockey is the biggest sport in the country these days. And yes, it's making the NBA look terrible. We'll talk about it momentarily. I'll connect them, I promise. First up, quickly, let me set today's schedule for you. Chris Vernon is the host of the Chris Vernon Show, weekdays noon, Grind City Media. He's going to pop in about 20 minutes, and I'll talk maybe some hockey with him, some NBA with him, some Grizzlies with him. Chris Vernon going to join me right around 10:20 when I finish talking to him. Take a break, come back, do 5 more things you need to know, at which point we're going to discuss 5 previously undiscussed stories. Among them, Kevin Durant has explained with his own mouth why he asked not to be traded back to Golden State. That might explain why he reportedly also asked not to be traded to Memphis. I'll tell you what he said. We'll do it in about 40 minutes. Is Bill Self-washed? That's what the internet is asking after Kansas lost by 34 last night at BYU. The preseason number 1, they're struggling. It's getting bad. I'll tell you how bad a little later on in the show. ASAP Rocky has been found not guilty by a jury of his peers. Good for him, if only because I can't imagine how frustrating it would be to work so hard in life that you get to be so successful. You end up in a relationship with Rihanna, and then you end up screwing that up. You got to spend 24 years in prison. Can you imagine being married to Rihanna but also having to do prison for 2 decades? That was on the table for Rocky at least. But he was found not guilty. We will celebrate his freedom. We'll do it in just a bit. Netflix is trying to purchase a big NFL package. Is this great for consumers? I'll ask Bennett what he thinks. We'll do that in the 3rd segment. And I gather you guys got snow on the ground back in Memphis. I'm looking out my window. I don't have snow on the ground here in New York, but I gather you guys got snow on the ground in Memphis. I'll ask Bennett whether he still has electricity at his house. We'll do that during a segment we call 5 More Things You Need to Know. Then we'll eventually do GP's Carryout and we'll call it a day. So that's the rundown. We got a lot to get to. But I did want to start with hockey. I believe, and Bennett, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe for the first time in the history of this show, I think we're talking hockey for the first time in the history of the show right off the bat, because tomorrow the biggest sporting event in this country is going to be a hockey game originating in Boston. And as of this morning, ticket prices are comparable to what folks pay to get into a Super Bowl. And this is super interesting to me, and I think you can tie it back to basketball. Now, as you likely know, I do not follow hockey. I know very little about hockey other than, like, the Winnipeg Jets are leading the NHL in points right now with 81. And honestly, the only reason I know that is because I looked it up about 20 minutes ago. I don't watch a lot of hockey. I don't follow it all. But I really do think tomorrow night I'm going to spend it watching hockey, because tomorrow night at 7 o'clock inside TD Garden in Boston, we're going to get the championship game of something called the Four Nations Face-Off. And it has gone, this event, from something that I think most of us had never heard of, at least in our part of the country, to something that has spent the past 24 hours leading the A block on SportsCenter. It's United States versus Canada, and this is the NHL's new all-star format. Instead of having, all-star teams in a traditional way, they have 4 countries comprised of NHL players, and they've been competing in this tournament. USA and Canada played over the weekend and fought 3 times in the first 9 seconds. And that really, thrust it into, mainstream sports. And now USA and Canada are set to play in the title game tomorrow night, and tickets are absolutely insane. I don't know if you've seen this, but if there were a Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final involving the Bruins in Boston tomorrow night, tickets would be about what they're currently going for tomorrow night's Four Nations Face-Off title game. The get-in price is around $800. The worst seat in the place right now is going for about $800. Big Bennett, be honest with me. This time last week, so let's call it last Wednesday, did you even know this was a thing?
The Four Nations tournament?
Yes.
I did know it was a thing. Yes, I did. I mean, look at me, bro. Come on.
I mean, you look like you would know.
Yeah.
Like if I was just trying to guess based on your appearance,
yeah,
I would assume you would know about the Four Nations Face-Off, considering you look like a hockey player.
Yeah.
But I didn't know anything about this. I didn't know that the NHL. I don't even know if I knew the NHL season was happening. I mean, I guess I did, but I ain't seen it with my own eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know it was All-Star break. I didn't know they had a new All-Star format. I knew nothing about any of this, all right? And I live on the internet. It just had not hit my world for whatever reason. But then I just kind of heard about it just by having a TV on in my hotel room. And then on Saturday night, this past Saturday night, I was in studio. And at the CBS Broadcast Center, when we're not actually on set on television, we have an area, they call it the bullpen. And it's where we have all these desks, and there's 12 televisions in front of us, and you got this incredible coffee machine over here, and there's sodas and waters over there, and chips and chocolates over yonder, and a catered buffet if you're hungry. Whatever you want, it's right there. And if it's not right there, it's somebody's job to get it for you. So just tell them and they'll get it for you. So it's a nice setup. Anyway, I'm sitting there on Saturday night, and because we're in New York, basically everybody in the room is a hockey fan other than me. So USA Canada gets one of the televisions, and people are interested in it, but whatever. I think the only thing I was watching for at the beginning was whether or not the Canadian fans booed the United States national anthem, and they did. Oh, buddy, they don't like us anymore. Turns out when you start talking about maybe just taking over a country and making it the 51st state, it makes you not that popular in that country. So I was interested in that aspect of it, but I didn't know that I'd care once the hockey started. But then, buddy, the hockey started, the puck dropped, and two dudes immediately started fist fighting. I mean, immediately. They were there to fist fight more than they were there to play hockey. They were there to set a tone. So they fought a pretty good fight, too. And, finally one fella knocks down the other fella, and that's when they step in, and they put them both in the penalty boxes, and the place is going crazy. So then we got to drop the puck again, and then two other dudes immediately start fist fighting. We put them in penalty boxes. Puck drops again. And then they actually, they hockey for a minute or two. Not even minute, like a few seconds, actually. And then we get our third fist fight. I believe it was 9 seconds into the game. Fist fights, 3 in 9 seconds. So, now I'm how can you not watch this? I don't think I cared about hockey, but these guys are showing me they care deeply about this. So, USA, I guess. Let's go. Basically, all I know about hockey, I learned from the River Kings. All right. So I don't even really know what I'm watching when I'm watching.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. But suddenly I'm more interested on Saturday night in this than I am in any college basketball game that I'm actually getting paid to talk about. Why? Because the players in this hockey competition showed me right away that they care deeply about what they were doing. The players showed us right away that they were competing and literally fighting for whatever prize was available. And then, and I told you I'd wrap this back together, 24 hours later, we got the NBA All-Star Game. And once again, the NBA players showed us very quickly they simply do not care at all about what they're doing. And so yesterday, while we were talking about whatever we were talking about, PK Subban was among the people talking about all of this on television. He was on ESPN. He's a former NHL player, a former Nashville Predator. And he was asked about what we're watching as it pertains to hockey, its all-star format, and was then contrasting it with what we're watching with the NBA's all-star format. And I thought he made some excellent points. So, Kyra, if you got it, bear with me for a couple of minutes because he makes some good points over a couple of minutes. But let's listen to what PK, who used to play hockey, let's listen to what he had to say.
What Giannis says, he says, hey, I think what we should do is, let's say, the world take on the American players in the NBA, kind of somewhat sort of what are you doing in the NHL? What do you think?
Well, listen, hockey's a different sport from the NBA. You can't compare the cultures because of the way the game is played. You can step on an NBA floor and go through the emotions. You can't do that in hockey. You can't. Like the culture of our sport, you have to play it with passion. You have to be willing to fight. You have to be willing to leave it on the ice. That's what fans are investing in. So for us, when we charge $1,500 for a ticket to come to Fortnite, fans know what they're getting. Cale Makar, the best defenseman in the world, wasn't in the lineup for this game. This was the most viewed game that we've had in years. And you see it, it's because it's not just based on the skill and talent. It's based on the pride, honor, playing for the guy next to you. I got a question for the NBA players. What the hell are you playing for? What are you playing for? It's not about the money. You make all the money. What, you're injured? Well, there's a difference between being hurt and injured. Are you hurt or are you injured? There's a difference. In hockey, we play hurt. We play injured. That is the culture of the sport. It's always been that way. So you want to talk about the business, the CBA. Fans get all of that. But what do fans resonate with? They resonate with what's real. You got to fight sometimes for your country. You got to compete. You got to go out there and leave it on the ice because those people are paying the price of admission. So fans know whether our stars are on the ice or not, they're getting their money's worth. The NBA has that issue that they got to work on. You got to create a better culture for your players. It starts with the leaders. This issue, there was no issue when Jordan was around. There was no issue when Kobe was around. There's no issue when Sidney Crosby's around. There's no issue when Wayne Gretzky was around because those are true leaders. They lead by example. Sidney Crosby, Hockey Canada, those players, both Canada and U.S., it was the players that did that for the Four Nations. That's not the league. The league set it up, but the players went out there and decided and said, you know what, boys? We're all in. When is the NBA going to do that? Because, I haven't sat down and watched the NBA consistently since Kobe. Since Kobe has died, I have not sat down and watched the NBA consistently. I love basketball. Love the players. I think LeBron's great. I think KD's great. Steph Curry, love watching them. But you got to be on the court. You got to be there, and when you're there, you got to go all in. The fans got to feel that they're getting their money's worth. And right now, there's a big difference between what the NHL's doing with those events and what the NBA's doing. Four Nations works because the players are all in.
Bennett, if you're LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and you're watching PK make the points he made, and it's difficult to argue against him, how does that make you feel? Does that embarrass you on any level?
Well, okay, so I think he made some good points. He does lose me a little bit when he starts talking about how he doesn't really watch the NBA anymore because, nobody's watching the hockey in the regular season. Way more people are watching NBA regular season than hockey regular season. So you kind of lose me there a little bit. But I do, agree with his point that he made in the beginning about how they play hurt. I think obviously it's a little different, as far as they're covered in padding and whatnot. It's kind of similar to the NFL. They obviously have, and it's a more physical sport. They have way more protection than NBA players. NBA players, knees are banging on a hardwood floor. So whatever. I get that point, and I agree with his point there. But yeah, I think overall he's pretty right on what he was saying.
Well, that's the thing. I see some other people get caught up on, well, he acknowledges he doesn't watch the NBA, so how is he even qualified to speak on the NBA? Well, that would only ring true to me or be a valid point to me if the points he was making about the NBA seemed nonsensical. But I don't think you've got to watch the NBA to know what you're talking about, and he was right. What was his opinion about the NBA that anybody had an issue with? Whether he watches it or not, he seems to have it pegged correctly. The players don't have any pride in All-Star Weekend. They don't have any pride in what they're doing. They don't care about it at all. They're not trying to compete. They don't even try to trick us anymore. They don't care at all. So regardless of whether he's watched basketball since Kobe or not, his opinions about the current state of the game are not invalid. They fall in line with basically everybody else's. So if you are an NHL player right now competing in this thing, you are being celebrated. And tomorrow night you'll feel that. I mean, that place in TD Garden is going to be electric. Again, the get-in price, Bennett, if you wanted to just buy one ticket and sit at the top of the building, the worst seat inside FedEx Forum, to watch this thing tomorrow night, it's costing you about $800 on the secondary market.
Damn.
That's
it's
where
like
we're
the
at.
Eras Tour, bro.
It's a little bit like the Eras Tour.
Yeah,
it's a little bit like the Eras Tour. No, in all seriousness, in sports, it's comparable to Game 7 of a Stanley Cup final, is what I've read. And it's comparable to the Super Bowl. Obviously, a Super Bowl, you got more seats, right? Mm-hmm. Than you have in a traditional hockey or basketball arena. But this thing is working. And I think where PK landed is exactly right. It's not working because it's a brilliant format. If it was as simple as create the United States versus Canada versus Finland versus whatever format, if it was as simple as, okay, we've got it, we cracked the code, now you just got to divide a bunch of really talented people into 4 different countries and allow them to compete. If it were as simple as that, you know what the NBA would have done a long time ago? They'd have just done that. You could do it right now. You could say we're going to take the best 12 players from the United States, and that'll be Team USA. And we're going to take the best 12 players from Canada, and that'll be Team Canada. And we'll take the best 12 players from France, and that'll be Team France. And we'll take the best 12 players from, I'll let you pick the next best country, and that'll be that thing. And then we'll play it just like they're doing in hockey, and everybody will enjoy it and celebrate it the same way they're celebrating the hockey. But like PK said, the secret here is not the format. The secret here is that the players decided we're going to care. We're going to compete. We're going to quite literally fight if we need to fight. And I don't think anybody is suggesting, I hope nobody's suggesting, that LeBron James needs to punch Steph Curry in the face to prove that they care. Hockey is very different than basketball. What we watch Saturday night is not something that would ever be allowed to happen on a basketball court. I hope that goes without saying. But the contrast, this has been a bad few days for the NBA because the contrast is undeniable. And if you want to find solace in the fact that the NBA is still bigger than the NHL and the NBA regular season gets better viewership than the NHL and the NBA playoffs are going to outrate the Stanley Cup play. If you want to find some solace in that, congratulations. It's all there. It's all true. But if you're an NBA fan right now, how do you feel about the sport that you follow? How do you feel about the sport that you care about? You've got one superstar after another telling us that this thing that used to be a weekend that was celebrated doesn't matter to them anymore. And you're lucky if they even put on the uniform. Like in LeBron's case, will literally not even put on the uniform to take a picture. That's how detached they are from this thing. That's the sport you care about. They might put on the uniform. They might not. But even if they do, don't expect them to actually play and compete. Oh, don't be silly. Meantime, these NHL players have decided this is the most important thing in the world. You know, it's not a Stanley Cup. It's not an Olympics. It is something that's brand new, just created out of thin air. And the NHL players said, you know what? If they're going to call it a competition, let's compete. If we're going to play for something, let's play for something. And right now, one sport is being celebrated, not just by people who follow it, but by people who even don't. And the other sport is consistently being mocked. And that is something that the NBA should have real interest in trying to figure out. And it starts with the players. It doesn't start with the format. It starts with the players. I'll get Chris Vernon's thoughts next.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Durant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans, and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing in FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
Memphis Cat is back with his Heaven on Earth tour.
I tried to be incognito, but thanks to Shannon Sharp's loud mouth, the gig is up.
February 22nd in the FedEx Forum.
In my spare time, I infiltrate the Illuminati. Look for their secrets. Run back. Tell y'all.
Don't miss this year's most talked about comedy icon live. He's back with brand new material, an unmatched wit, and an electrifying performance. Get tickets at Ticketmaster.com.
There's no substitute for experience, the knowledge gained from having been there before, and the passion to share what you know to make everyone around you better. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy.
Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
It's your turn to drive into luxury at Southland Casino Hotel. Join us on Saturdays to win your share of up to $1 million in free play and prizes. And don't miss the chance to take home luxury itself during the grand finale drawings. Drive off in a 2025 Land Rover on February 1st or a 2025 Range Rover on March 1st. 2 vehicles, 2 finales, 1 million ways to enjoy luxury only at Southland Casino Hotel. Must be 21 or up. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. I'm in New York City. Bennett Doyle back inside the Built Ford Tough studio at FedEx Forum. Chris Vernon is the host of the Chris Vernon Show, weekdays noon. Grind City Media. He joins me on Wednesdays. Today's Wednesday, so he's here right now. Hey, Chris Vernon, how are you? How are you?
I heard you're a big theater guy now. I saw on Instagram.
I'm such a theater guy now. You and I, hey, who would have ever predicted this? That on February 19th, 2025, you and I have both within the past month experienced Sunset Boulevard on Broadway
with Nicole Scherzinger.
Scherzinger?
She was there.
She was amazing, right?
Amazing. She's great. That was fun. Right. That was a good show, and the way they did it was super cool too. I would encourage anybody to go check that out.
Yeah, like I say this all the time. I am not naturally like a theater guy. Like I like to think of myself as something more serious than I am sometimes. But like I didn't grow up in the theater. I don't even know that I properly appreciate it as much as I should. But I can tell you this: I have literally never been to a Broadway show that I didn't enjoy. Not one. I've gone to Las Vegas shows that I thought were trash. I have never been to a Broadway show that wasn't like, I'm glad I did that. And Sunset Boulevard was terrific. Jessica tells me it's going to win all the Tonys. So
yeah, I've been to one.
Me and you can get in a group text on the night of the Tonys, and we'll be like, yeah, we saw this coming. We witnessed this in person.
We knew. Yeah, the only one I can remember. So I did grow up going, like my parents, like there was a Fox Theater that I went to a bunch as a kid. My dad would he's the kind that buy season tickets, so take the family. Yeah. My sister was like a great singer who was in all of the traveling choirs and stuff like that. So it was like a thing, and we went to, so I had to go to all of them. The only one I ever remember in my life hating was Cats. Yeah. I was like, this sucks. I hate this.
Cats sucks.
Yeah, and I was a kid, you know what I mean? So I'm probably a teenager. It's probably the worst time ever to see Cats, and I was like, this is boring. I hate it. But other than that, Cats, the only one I can remember. Virtually every other one from the time I was a child, I've loved. And I've seen most of, I haven't seen all of the big ones, but I've seen most of them.
Yeah, I've seen most of the big ones at this point. And I guess I've maybe been to the Orpheum and seen something that I didn't think was terrific, but I'm seeing strictly on Broadway. Yeah. It shows up here. Yeah. I've never been disappointed.
Theater guys. We're theater guys.
We're theater guys.
I'm a bit of a theater guy myself.
We're theater guys. Bennett, maybe one day you could become Bennett.
You're not a theater guy. You're for sure not a theater guy.
I was in theater as a child for multiple years.
No, it doesn't count.
Yes, I was.
You live in Memphis.
Shut up. On Playhouse on the Square.
Oh, what were you in?
Peter Pan. So
you were not Peter Pan.
I wasn't Peter Pan.
Well, then what does it matter? You were a tree? Who cares?
You were a tree.
Who cares?
Bennett bragging about being a tree.
I was a tree in Peter Pan. Who cares?
Congrats on being a tree, Bennett.
He said he was a lost boy. A lost boy. You still are.
Hey, Bennett. Hey, clean that beard up, and maybe we'll take you to the theater.
And for sure. And for sure, his dad got him the role. It's ridiculous.
It's not true. He had to work
he didn't
hard
even try out.
It's not true.
They needed some public funding, and his dad could help with.
Not true.
Bennett's a Nepo baby.
No,
Bennett's a Nepo
baby.
Fan.
That is not true at all.
Bronny Doyle.
No. I earned it all.
No wonder he's so defensive about Bronny.
You know what it's like. You were Bronny before Bronny.
Bronny Doyle.
Y'all are wrong.
Was a lost boy.
Bronny Doyle.
Oh my God, I love it.
Okay, listen. Not only am I 2025 has been a year of surprises so far. Because not only am I now a theater guy, I'm also now a hockey guy. I'm fired up about this hockey stuff. Like I told Bennett earlier. A week ago at this time, I don't think I even knew that this was a thing. I don't even think I knew that it was happening. But Saturday night, it was on in the studio, and there was one fight, and then another fight, and then 3 fights in the first 9 seconds. And I thought PK Subban yesterday on ESPN was very good talking about it. NHL players care about this, and so now it's a big thing that matters. And NBA players, we just watched them once again not care about what they're doing, and so it's a thing that's getting mocked. What did you make of the points PK Subban was making on ESPN yesterday?
I think one of the things, and again, this could alter my opinion on this. So I went to go look it up, and I'm like, do they get paid for this? And I went to go look it up, and evidently, if you are part of the Four Nations tournament, and I know they're saying, look, it's not enough money, it's just for love of country. They all got an appearance fee. I don't know what that is. And then whoever wins it splits a prize, which is unknown to the public from all I went to go research it. I'm like, how much, right? Like, because this is one of the things I'm thinking of is like, we saw this happen with the in-season tournament. That is not some crazy amount of money as compared to their salary, but look at how much they mention it and they care. And they talk about wanting to get to Vegas so that they can make that money, so that they can get that money. And so I do wonder, that is always one of the things that I'm a little cynical about. I'm like, okay, how much money is it? Because if you're splitting up a prize pool and if you're giving them an appearance fee to get there, I do wonder, it's easy for everybody to say it's just for love of the game and it's because they care about their fans. It's because, like, all right, if you tell me it's like $5 grand, 10 grand, 20 grand, I got it. Then fine. It's for love of the game. They're just doing it for the fans, whatever. But like, what is the appearance fee for even being it? So they're getting money for even being a part of this. And then if they win it, there's some of money that the winning team gets to split. But interestingly enough, I can't find that anywhere. And so I do wonder, like, if... I think that one of the things that we have found out is that guys are really incentivized by money, right? And it can have a profound impact on your marketability if you win the dunk contest or you win the three-point contest or whatever else. But, I mean, the money's not changing anybody, dramatically. And I do wonder if there was like a prize pool, if that would change things, simply because we've seen the way that people rolled their eyes at the in-season tournament. But if you ever talk to a player, they always mention the money, right? And they always mention the money. And you also see those regular season games being played like they are playoff games. These teams are playing like 8-man rotations, and they like care deeply about winning that thing. And I can only believe it's not because they want a banner and the pride of winning the in-season tournament. Who gives a crap? They want the money. And so there's part of me that wonders why that's not just out front what they get. And it also makes me wonder if that is partially the motivation for why these guys seemingly care so much about this.
If it is, then it's money well spent.
Yes.
Whatever it is. If it is, it is the best investment the NHL could have made, because I'm going to sit in front of my television tomorrow night with my wife and children, and we're going to watch hockey.
Wait, it's tomorrow night? I thought it was tonight. It's tonight, right? Or it's tomorrow night?
I think it's tomorrow night. I think it's Thursday night.
Oh, then that clears it out. Nice. I was worried that now tomorrow I'm going to have to watch this hockey tonight because I started watching that Court of Gold last night. Now I want to knock that thing out. Did you watch any of it?
I am 11 minutes into about 7 different television shows right now. I work until I'm done, and then I say, okay, now it's time to just watch something and unplug, and then I fall asleep in 11 minutes. So no, I have not seen it.
That Court of Gold is awesome. Awesome. They gave all access to a bunch of these like really great documentary filmmakers, and they gave all access to all of the teams at the Olympics. And so you're just following around like Team USA and then the other teams as well. But I'm talking like even in the locker room and even in like their team meetings and everything like that. And I just watched the first episode last night and I was like, this is awesome.
Right.
Like I think so many times now you get all these things that are produced by the players and you don't really get any kind of, it's all this carefully crafted, whatever they want you to see. That's how I felt about that, starting 5 thing or whatever, right? Like very rarely is there anybody that's just gonna act like themselves. Anthony Edwards is the only one that just obviously acts like himself. But even in this first one, he walks up and Barack Obama is standing. Have you seen this clip?
I've seen people reference it. I haven't seen it.
Barack Obama's standing there talking to Joel Embiid, and he's like, this little brother could play a little bit, huh? and Anthony Edwards responds, y'all better stand down. I'm the truth. This is to Barack Obama. I'm like, this guy has absolutely he doesn't even care. It makes no difference that it was Barack Obama that said something to him. It's just how he reacts no matter what. So I need an Anthony Edwards, like full on just Anthony Edwards show, because everything that he's in on Netflix, all the way back to even that movie with Adam Sandler, is amazing. He's amazing.
He's naturally hilarious.
An Electric Factory, yes.
He's naturally hilarious. Like if he weren't a basketball player, if he just worked with us on the fourth floor and he was just walking around, he would just be funny all the time. Hilarious. He's just funny.
Yes.
So tonight, yes, you can finish that on Netflix, and then tomorrow night we get the Four Nations. So listen, I actually do believe it's more than just the money. I think these guys do care. The money might help, but I think they have just decided we're going to care about this thing, and now the whole country, at least two whole countries care about this thing on some level. Mm-hmm. You're gonna have people watching hockey tomorrow night who otherwise, I mean, I cannot tell you the last time I turned on hockey, the last time I even thought about hockey, and yet I will have this on because they showed me that they care, and it's a real competition. So I'll if you're gonna invest, I'll invest with you. And I know it's a little bit like beating a dead horse at this point, but for this to be happening in such close conjunction with the NBA All-Star Weekend is really a bad look for the NBA, because it's just the contrast is undeniable. Over here, we have people quite literally fighting over All-Star Weekend, and over here, LeBron James can't even bother to put a jersey on to take a picture.
Yeah. I mean, the juxtaposition between the two, where everybody's excited for one and everybody hated the other, is it's terrible, right? But in fairness, I mean, I am hopeful, and maybe I'm just always glass half full. I am hopeful that there will be a real onus put on making next year's great, because it's going to move to NBC, and that's when the TV contract kicks in. That it really did feel like this last year of TNT, like that nobody cared that what kind of a TV product it was. I cannot fathom that somebody cared the way that came off on TV, because it was horrendous, like truly horrendous. Whereas if it's going to be on NBC next year or whatever, they've got to put their best foot forward. They have to. It's year one of a $76 billion television contract, and this is your new partner. The same way that we can say, hey, we like watching Raw, but look at what Raw was like when it moved to Netflix. Right. That was a different world, right? It's first impression time next year. This year was last impression time, or like throwaway time, because this isn't going to be a part of this anymore. And I think it was all constructed like that, all the way down to the ridiculous, let's honor these TNT guys that we're going to honor 50 times during this season by having Kevin Hart give them fishing poles in the middle of a game. I mean, it's just dumb. Just dumb.
It was bad.
Terrible. By the way, they're not even going anywhere. It's not like they're not a part of our lives anymore, right? This isn't like, hey, thanks so much for being. Like, I remember when they did like the heartfelt, Nick Faldo started crying on like his last major broadcast, right? And he was like really gone. And like Nick Faldo's gone. We don't see him anymore. Like that was the end. He's done. Or like Vin Scully or something. Like, the TNT guys are going to be on next year. Like, we're going to see it. They're not going anywhere.
Channel. No, it is all silly. I hope they figure it out. I'm not confident that they will. Last thing before I get you out of here, transparency. I didn't really know what to do with this. It was something people were talking about, and I'm like, how much attention do you pay to something like this? Because Howard Beck at The Ringer had just sort of thrown out there, hey, I'm talking to people because it's my job. And, sometimes when I talk to people, you hear some stuff. And, man, you ain't going to believe what I heard the other day when I was talking to somebody who works in the front office. And they were like, hey, keep an eye on Ja Morant in Memphis. There could be a trade going down there in the offseason. And the way media works today, it just picks up, and then it's trending, and then it's a headline that gets aggravated everywhere. And as I'm thinking through it, like, okay, what do you do with this? I couldn't help but think, I could make this exact same thing happen if I wanted to, just by doing this. Go on the IM College Basketball podcast this morning and be like, so, I was talking to, some other coaches in the Big 12 recently, and you won't believe what one coach told me, but he was just like, keep an eye on Bill Self. He's 62 years old. He had a heart procedure. He's second straight bad season. just don't be surprised if Bill Self, calls it a career when this is over.
Seen a lot of his peers walk away as well that are very accomplished, right? Yeah.
And that would get aggregated everywhere.
Everywhere.
CBS is saying Bill Self might walk, and it was like, whoa, that's just something somebody said. It's not even something somebody said they know. It's just something somebody said to keep an eye on. And so
it's nonsense. It's nonsense.
So that's what I was going to say. So I was comforted because I didn't address it at all yesterday, but I watched you, and you were like, "Listen, we'll spend we'll talk about it for a second, but it's nonsense. It's ridiculous," and that made me feel better. I didn't feel like I was just skipping over something I didn't need to be skipping over, but like it is a weird thing that didn't used to exist, but because of the way media works today, it's a real thing.
It's frustrating because then it gets aggregated everywhere. It's like, could Ja Morant? Like, no, he couldn't. They're not getting rid of Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, and Jerry Jackson Jr. I don't know how many times they will never have a conversation. Like the phone, if somebody called, they'd hang it up. Like, just because there is a dumbass in Dallas doesn't mean that everybody else, right? This would be the equivalent of, hey, look, if Minnesota gets ousted in the first round, like, keep an eye on Anthony Edwards. Like, that's outrageous. Right. One of the things we have learned, even through this trade deadline, is your acquisition of star/superstar level players is not the same as anywhere else. It just isn't. You are the smallest market in the NBA. Literally the smallest. When you get superstars, you keep them as long as you possibly can. You are not getting a better player. So that's why I say it's nonsense. Like the idea that, in the absence of a guy demanding, right? A guy demanding to leave, you never get rid of that guy. You just don't.
Well, I've seen some people make the point over the past 24 hours that, once you see Luka get moved, then you can imagine anybody could get moved. And I actually think the opposite is true. Like, I actually think that once you see Luka get moved and then you see the reaction from the entire world, whether it's Adam Silver or anybody down, they're all like, that was crazy. And by crazy, I mean stupid. It would I think what happened in Dallas makes you more hesitant to move off of a 25-year-old superstar because the whole world just told you Dallas is ridiculous for doing that.
Right. Especially when, and again, it's not like you have seen, when people have seen, whether it's like the Paul George trade or the Rudy Gobert trade or whatever else, you're seeing some of those trades are changing a little bit, right? Now it's not, hey, you get my player and you get the draft rights to everything I own over the course of the next whatever years, because those have all turned out bad. All of them. All of them. All of them, right? The Kevin Durant thing, the James Harden thing, the Paul George thing, the Rudy Gobert thing, on and on and on, right? And so we had a wave of those, but I don't think that I think there is one team out of 30 that would have traded Luka Doncic.
That's right.
He happened to be on the team that was run by the guy that I am of the belief that it was just this insane circumstance where one guy spent 20 years of his career, in fact, the most formidable years of his career, alongside Kobe Bryant. A guy that famously was completely drenched at 4:30 a.m., when the rest of Team USA is still asleep, and then they get to breakfast, and he's already worked out for 2.5 hours, right? And so I think that the difference between, right? So if that's what you think is what it takes to be the greatest, right? You see that level of effort. You see that effort. Like the idea that you see some chubby guy that doesn't care nearly that much and you have to take beers out of his hands and whatever else, your perception of what greatness is has been so radically altered by something that is not normal by any other standard except for one guy, right? And so you then become resentful of those that don't treat it with that level of dedication and seriousness. Never mind that the guy, let him be chubby and do what he does. You know what I'm saying? You think Nikola Jokic is sweating at 4:30 a.m.? Everybody else isn't, right? And so this idea that, like, hey, this guy doesn't take it seriously. Like, he doesn't take it seriously compared to the guy that you were around for 20 years, but he takes it serious enough to be one of the best 3 players in the world.
Right.
know?
No, that's exactly right. Nico got too close to it to where he could no longer see it for what it was. He got so close to it that he could not see Luka Doncic the way the rest of the world sees Luka Doncic. He got so close to it that he could only see the bad and not the good, and he made a career-defining mistake. It'll go down in history as a career-defining and probably career-ending mistake. Chris Vernon is the host of the Chris Vernon Show. He's going to be in the big studio in about an hour.
Big announcements today regarding TA's retirement night.
Okay.
TA will be on, and we've got all kinds of info, press release going out. Super cool stuff. So
awesome.
Yeah,
all right.
that'll be today.
So you know where to be at noon. Chris Vernon Show right here on Grind City Media. When we come back, Kevin Durant sat down with Malika Andrews and explained why he pushed against a move back to Golden State, and it might help explain why he also reportedly didn't want a move to the Grizzlies. I'll tell you what he said. We'll do it next. It's the Gary Parrish Show presented by Ortho South.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing compares to catching your Grizzlies IRL. And that all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Grizzlies tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at FedEx Forum or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
Can't wait. It's time to get it popping.
It's going to be crazy. The fans are going to be loud. We need just energy.
Back to Jared for the flash.
We're going to need, the Forum rocking. We're going to need, everybody in Memphis to be out there to come to support.
When the fans are good, we're good. Simple as that.
A Bane 3. Yes, sir. Desmond Bane with ice water in his veins.
We'll ride the energy together.
If you go to a hustle game, you're going to see a very fast-paced game. A lot of action, both offensively, defensively.
Nice rejection right there.
In a great environment at the Landers Center. You could bring family there. Kids are running around.
Down the lane and one for Zion Poland.
And then you're going to see a lot of talented basketball players competing at a high level.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance, to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard, bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item. Whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Orthopedic injuries can be unpredictable, unforeseen, and unscheduled, and Ortho South understands this better than anyone. Since your injuries don't make appointments, you don't need to either, and that's because Ortho South welcomes walk-ins during the weekdays in the evening and even on Saturdays. So next time an unforeseen injury makes an unscheduled appearance in your life, visit orthosouth.org to find your nearest urgent care location. Just walk in, and Ortho South will take care of everything, especially you. Learn more at orthosouth.org. That's orthosouth at orthosouth.org. Now I got 5 more things you need to know.
Number 1.
Kevin Durant sat down with Malika Andrews on ESPN and answered questions about why he reportedly declined an opportunity to get traded back to the Golden State Warriors. Now, to be clear, he didn't have a no-trade clause the way, say, LeBron James does, Devin Booker does. or my bad, Bradley Beal does, but he's Kevin Durant, and he has some influence, and he made it clear to everybody involved, hey, I don't want to move back to Golden State, so if you're thinking about doing this deal, please do not do this deal. And so at that point, everybody starts speculating, ooh, why does he want to go back to Golden State? I bet it's because he hates Draymond. Probably hates Draymond. Doesn't want to play with Draymond again. So he sits down yesterday with Malika, and he's answering these questions. And do you know what he said?
What did he say?
He said, the reason I didn't want to go back to Golden State is because I just didn't want to move in the middle of a season. Period. I just didn't want to move.
I think I believe that.
Like, it is hilarious to me that whether it's coaches or athletes, they often make big career decisions, and then we often try to make sense of it. And we're so often just completely wrong. Like, you just don't know what actually motivated the person to make the decision. In college basketball, there's a decent example of this last season. As the year is unfolding, and it's 1 year removed from Dusty May taking Florida Atlantic to the Final Four, and he's got FAU, ranked again, and it becomes clear this is his last season at FAU, and he's going to basically take whatever job he wants to take at the end of it. You want to be the Louisville coach, you can be the Louisville coach. You want to be the Michigan coach, you can be the Michigan coach. You want to be, I'm sure if he wanted to be the Arkansas coach, he could have been the Arkansas coach. And so all year, people are speculating about what Dusty May might do. And the thing most people landed on, myself included, if I'm being honest, is I think he'll probably just take the Louisville job, because of all the jobs that are going to be available, that's the best one. That's the biggest one, where you've got the highest ceiling, where they'll give you all the NIL money. And I guess that's probably where Dusty May will be coaching. If I had to guess, at this point, he'll be the next head coach at Louisville. And he could have been. But he decided he'd rather be the next head coach at Michigan. And do you know why? If you actually talk to Dusty, do you know why he picked Michigan over Louisville? For the exact opposite reasons that people thought he would pick Louisville over Michigan. People thought if you got the opportunity to be the head coach at Louisville, place where Denny Crum won a national championship, where Rick Pitino won a national championship, where you're the king of a city. Like, Louisville's a real city. If the city of Memphis would not have gotten the Grizzlies, they could have gone to Louisville. That was on the table. And so Louisville's a real city. You want to be the king of Louisville? How do you pass that up? So I guess Dusty May's going to be the king of Louisville. And you know what Dusty would tell you? That is exactly why I didn't want to be the head coach at Louisville, because I don't want to be the king of anything. I don't want to every single time I'm in a restaurant have 1 million people coming over taking pictures. I don't want every single time I'm at my kid's soccer game to just be bombarded. I want to be a big-time college basketball coach, but not a big-time college basketball coach that lives in a fishbowl, At Michigan, you know what I am? I'm the basketball coach that people pay attention to once football is over. But I don't have to live the same life I'd be living if I were the head coach at a place like Kentucky or Louisville or Kansas or a place like that. So Dusty was motivated by different things, perhaps different things than most coaches would be motivated by. Because if you were ranking basketball jobs, most people would rank Louisville ahead of Michigan. But he decided he'd rather be the coach at Michigan instead of Louisville. Well, here's another example of something similar. Kevin Durant decides he doesn't want to go to Golden State, and everybody starts making assumptions about why that is. It's either because he didn't feel like he got properly appreciated last time he was there, so screw those people, those fans. It's because he hates Draymond Green, so no chance I'm going to be his teammate again. What Katie actually said? No, it's none of that, really. It's just that I didn't want to move in the middle of a season, and I would like to see it through with my teammates here in Phoenix. So I'm glad that I'm still here. I'm where I want to be. I know some other people might have wanted to be there, but I'm where I want to be. And I think that also might answer on some level why he reportedly also pushed against a possible trade to the Grizzlies. It might, because when that happened, you read that headline, you know what people are saying? Does he not want to play with Ja? Does he not like Dez? Does he not fit well with all these things? You know what it might have been? I just don't want to move in the middle of the season. I like living in Phoenix. The weather's amazing. I like my teammates. Like Bradley Beal's another example of this. A different person, if you're Bradley Beal, you'd be motivated to waive your no trade clause and just get into a different situation. But Bradley Beal is like, no, I got a wife and kids. I'd rather just stay here. I don't want to move. It's just a reminder that even professional athletes worth hundreds of millions of dollars are not always motivated by what you think you would be motivated by.
I think too, like in our opinion, you know, when we're talking about it, it's like, well, how much longer does KD have? You know, performing as one of the best offensive players in the league. Like he needs to try to go win now somewhere. He doesn't think like that. He thinks he's going to be awesome, like, you know, for the next however many years. So, you know, I'm sure in his mind he's like, you know, we'll see what happens. Maybe we can get in the play-in, do something the second half of the season, and if not, then I'll just go to a better situation, you know, next season. I'm with you, yeah.
There's just a lesson in there, and I realize we're sort of in the speculative business. You know, you got to say something into these microphones.
Right.
So I realize on some level we're into the business of speculating, but just don't ever forget that sometimes when you're speculating, you don't have any idea what is actually motivating the person you're talking about. And Kevin Durant, I think, told the world that on some level yesterday. The whole world's got strong opinions about why Kevin Durant didn't want to go to Golden State. Turns out, according to him, just didn't want to move, period. Simple as that.
By the way, if you haven't seen it yet, there's that new documentary that's on Netflix. I guess it's about the Olympic team. And I just saw the clip of him talking yesterday when they asked him about playing. Did you see when he gets all emotional, starts crying, talking about the Olympic team?
I've seen the clips, but I haven't launched myself into the show.
It's really good, man. It's really good. I just saw that clip. I want to watch the show now, but I'm a fan. Like it would be so sick if they could figure out a way to get him here. I know that like a lot goes into that and whatever, but yeah, I'm a KD fan for sure. I haven't always been like back in those playoff series, you know, with the Thunder and whatnot. But he seems like a genuine dude.
I'm a Kevin Durant fan. I was lucky enough to spend time around him when he was in high school, when he was in that 1 year at Texas. I've like phenomenal talent, but you know, I like what I know of Kevin Durant. I like. I think if I knew him better, I would like him. I'm a Kevin Durant fan as well, and I just thought that was interesting. While the whole world is speculating about why you're making decisions, you're just sitting back going, not really any of that stuff. Truth is, I just didn't want to move in the middle of a season. That's the number one reason I'm not in Golden State right now. I just did not want to move in the middle of a season.
Number 2.
Bill self-washed. Bennett, that's a question for you. Is Bill self-washed? You see what's going on in Kansas right now?
I mean, look, dude, it looked like, by the way, I watched a ton of college basketball last night. I feel like I am prepped now. I feel like I feel like I'm ready to go. Like, put a bracket in front of me, I'm ready. All right, I've done my research. Bennett. I also, I watched y'all's broadcast because we were talking about the Seton Hall Marquette game yesterday. And I tell everything you said, it's crystal clear. It's just like two different levels of players playing against each other. Like the size difference, everything. Like when you said that Shaheen Holloway and Seton Hall, like they don't really have an NIL budget in that league like all the other teams do, it's crystal clear when you watch the games.
Yeah, they got mid-major players now. Yeah. And Marquette, has high-major players. Among them, Cam Jones, my little homie from Memphis.
Yeah, man,
who is
he's awesome.
Headed for All-American status. Like, really, he's going to be an All-American. And probably going to be a first-round pick in the NBA draft. It's the young man who came out of our city and, was a well-known basketball prospect. That's how you end up at Marquette in the Big East. But my understanding of his recruitment is that, he wasn't a number one priority for Memphis and, wasn't targeted in any sort of enthusiastic way. Yeah, they'd have taken him, I gather, if, he wanted to come, but they weren't going to prioritize him. And so he has gone to Marquette. He was a role player, I guess, in year one and has been a key player every year since. He had another big game last night. Marquette gets that win. The bigger story in the sport, though, was the Kansas loss. They went to BYU, lost 91-57.
Man, they got whacked.
34-point loss to drop to 8-7 in the Big 12. And so I made this point earlier in the week on the College Basketball Podcast. In a time where people are often just throwing out opinions, sometimes I find it helpful to just speak factually about something. Like anybody can argue about an opinion. It's subjective. So let's just take the opinion out for a second. Let's talk about facts, and then we can get back into the opinions. So what I'm about to tell you is factual. you can't argue against this. Bill Self, in the first 20 years he was at Kansas, never lost more than 6 Big 12 games. Won the league outright more often than not. And never lost more than 6 league games. Not once. Literally not once in any year in 20 years. He wins a national championship in 2022. He has a heart procedure. And whether these things are connected or not, the program has not been the same. They lost 8 games in the league last season after being preseason number 1. And after last night, they now have 7 losses in the league after being preseason number 1. So, to put this in proper context, for 20 straight years, this thing never happened. This thing being Kansas losing more than 6 Big 12 games. Never happened, not once. And then it happened last season, and now it has happened again. And if you count Big 12 tournament games, what I'm about to tell you is true. The last 35 games Kansas has played against a Big 12 opponent, regardless opponent, just it's a team that calls the Big 12 home. The last 35 games, Kansas record, 18-17. 18-17. That is unimaginable for every year of Bill Self's career up until last year. And so I'm asking it with a little bit tongue-in-cheek. It's still Bill Self. He's a Hall of Famer. No, I do not believe he's washed. I think it's more likely he'll be in the Final Four again someday than it is that he'll never make another Final Four. But if you're a Kansas fan, this would be concerning, wouldn't it? Like you can't ignore the obvious, which is this program was rocking and rolling for 2 straight decades with no bumps at all. And last season was a major, major disappointment. And this one is too.
Yeah, I mean, so I saw his post game when he kind of talked about how he thought it would be that this would maybe be like a bonding experience for his team, that they would be able to create some chemistry in this game, and obviously that didn't happen. He seemed disappointed. It kind of goes to like what I was saying about Penny Hardaway earlier this week, where I think he's had. He doesn't throw this team under the bus, this current Memphis Tigers team, because he likes his team. Like he thinks that these guys are built for it, and he's a fan of this version. I wonder if it's kind of a similar situation. Like there's been teams in the past where Penny hasn't really liked the team chemistry, and then they have a whole new team the next season. And in this NIL era, like Kansas, they probably gonna have a whole new team next season, right? They've got one of the bigger NIL budgets in the country, so. I wonder if it's one of those situations where maybe this team just in his best Kansas team, it's clearly not, and he doesn't really, the chemistry's not there that maybe it's been in the past. I could totally see them having a completely new team next season and being awesome again.
Well, that's the thing. When you have a Hall of Fame coach, like quite literally a Hall of Fame coach, and you give him not unlimited NIL resources, but something close to it. Yeah, eventually he's going to build another Final Four roster. He's going to but the problem becomes last season was disappointing, and Bill made a point even before last season was over to say, this will not happen again. I will not get caught like this again. I'm going to go out and get the best roster we've ever had and take this thing to another level. So like last year was supposed to be the learning experience that you learn from and don't ever let happen again. And then they went out and built the team that on paper looked like it was the best team in the country.
Yeah.
And now they're struggling again. So yeah, I'm still confident they'll be okay as a program, perhaps as recently as next season. But I've been doing this a long time at this point, and you never expected to see a Bill Self team go through this stuff. And I did have somebody who works in the sport hear me say, they'll be fine because it's Bill Self and it's Kansas. And this person was like, you're probably right, but don't ever forget this is how it happens. Coaches are great, and then they're not. That's the history of the sport. Outside of like Mike Krzyzewski, Rick Pitino, I guess. But most coaches at a certain point, it doesn't look the same anymore. John Calipari was awesome at Kentucky up until he wasn't. And now he's not awesome at Arkansas, and maybe he's just not awesome anymore. And so this coach was just like, just keep that in mind. If Bill Self is somebody who had a Hall of Fame career and then got into his 60s and started to find it challenging to have the same type of success, well, he wouldn't be the first coach that happened to. In fact, it happens to most. So we'll see where it goes going forward. Kansas got 2 very winnable games coming up, Colorado and Oklahoma State. After that, it's Texas Tech. So then you dive right back into a top 10 matchup, or at least a matchup with a top 10 team. But Kansas sitting here 8-7 in the Big 12, not supposed to be the case.
Number 3.
A$AP Rocky is not guilty. Congratulations to A$AP Rocky.
Hey.
He's been found not guilty by a jury of his peers. Did you see the emotion yesterday?
I saw him jump on Rihanna right afterwards. Yep.
Well, isn't that what you would do, Bennett?
I think so. Honestly, it was probably the most likely reaction. Yes.
If Rihanna would let you jump on her, wouldn't you?
I'm a married man.
I know, but let's take for a second that you weren't a married man, and Rihanna was like, "You could jump on me if you want to." Wouldn't you do that?
Probably.
I think so. Can you imagine even getting to a place where Rihanna will let you jump on her? Man,
I can't. I can't. I can't imagine.
Can you even?
No. I don't know. I can't imagine. Yeah.
So this whole thing has been crazy to me, because imagine you get to a place where you can have babies with Rihanna. Think about how amazing that must be.
Yeah.
You get to have babies with Rihanna, okay? Like a dream come true. That should be man, if they made that Mega Millions, instead of winning Mega Millions, you just get to have babies with Rihanna. People would opt for that, wouldn't they?
I think they'd opt out of Mega Millions, yeah.
If the option was $242 million Powerball, or you get to have babies with Rihanna, wouldn't you just have babies with Rihanna?
You have to consider it, yeah.
I think I would. I think I know what I would do. All right. So for all intents and purposes, A$AP Rocky has hit the lottery. He gets to have babies with Rihanna. He hits the lottery. And then he jeopardizes his freedom by allegedly firing a semi-automatic gun at one of his buddies. He denied it, and now we're going to argue about it in court. And I tell you early on, Bennett, as somebody who followed this case as closely as you can follow it on TMZ, it wasn't always looking so great for Rocky. And the whole time I'm going, my God, dude, you won the lottery. You got to have babies with Rihanna. And now you might do 24. He was facing 24 years in prison. He turned down a 6-month plea deal. He could have got 6 months. And he said, nope, I'm going to put it in the hands of a jury of my peers. But there is a moment yesterday where, think about how crazy this must be. You're looking at complete strangers, and these people are about to tell you whether you get to go home with Rihanna or you got to do perhaps 24 years in prison. Can you imagine what it's like to be waiting on that news?
No, I cannot. Yeah, that's intense.
And this is why you allegedly don't shoot your friends, you know?
Right.
Because it could mess up your situation with Rihanna. I don't know whether Rocky did this or not, but I'm kind of glad that he was found not guilty, just because I couldn't bear to see a man sit in prison after he had babies with Rihanna. That seems like a crazy way to spend your life.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, so congratulations to Rocky. I don't know if he was innocent or not. I don't know. The evidence
doesn't matter anymore.
It doesn't matter anymore. You know, we have a judicial system in this country, and Rocky was a part of it, and a jury of his peers said not guilty, and so he got to go home with Rihanna. Good for him. I'm happy. I'm happy for the whole family, and I hope if there's a lesson to be learned, and I'm not sure that there is, but if there's a lesson to be learned, I hope it's been learned, and that you never put your life with Rihanna at risk again. I think that's. Do you think if you beat these charges, you never put your life with Rihanna at risk again? Do you think you walk the straight and narrow now?
I'd like to think so.
I'd like to think so. I'd like to think I would. We'll see. Good. Congratulations to Rocky. I'm happy for him.
Number 4.
Netflix. Bennett, you sent me this story.
Yeah.
Is trying to buy a big NFL package from CBS or Fox. Speaking on behalf of CBS, we're not for sale.
Okay, good.
I'm not qualified to speak on behalf of CBS. It's not up to me. I'm not even a part of these conversations. Do you think this is good? Like, we all love Netflix, right?
Yeah.
But one of the complaints I hear from sport fans about streaming is that folks like to change the channel very quickly from one thing to another. And we are not at a place with streaming where you can just pop around from Netflix to Peacock to everything else so smoothly. So here's what I gather. Everybody loves Netflix, but man, we don't want all our football games on Netflix because we can't pop around like we used to pop around, although I'm certain Netflix can figure that out someday. What do you make of this development?
I think, I will say, man, like, if this happens and they take it from one of the big dude, it is like getting closer. That's a tough spot for cable, right? I mean, you need NFL. That's what's driving it. And I have not cut the cord. I'm a proud cable subscriber. But the thing that about it that would suck is, dude, if they're to get one of these big Sunday packages, Netflix is already like the most expensive streaming service, brother. It's going to be double. They'll double it as soon as they get that, right?
And guess what? And who will cancel their subscription? Nobody.
Probably not. But and that's what's annoying about, like, remember the way back when now, like when people started cutting the cords and stuff, it was for cheaper options, right? Like, your cable package is too expensive. I just need these certain amount of things. And I'm good, so I'm going to save money. As a sports fan, dude, it could not ever – it's more expensive. And I know things are more expensive now. It's going to be more expensive than it ever has been to watch sports. It just is. Like, there's no – cutting the cord ain't going to save you. Having cable only and less streaming services ain't going to save you. It's just – I hate the direction this is all going because it just costs me more money.
Well, Bennett, this is what you voted for. This is what you asked for.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
This is the country you wanted to live in.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah.
So I hope you're enjoying yourself. Netflix is gonna. I don't know why my television just popped on for no reason. Netflix is gonna be.
It's like you're not getting rid of me, buddy.
I think I just said Netflix and my TV just listening to everything I say, and they're like, "You want Netflix? Here, take it."
Yeah.
This is what you voted for, Bennett. So I hope you're enjoying yourself.
Yeah, I don't love it. I don't love the way this is all. Again, I have everything because I like consume everything and want to watch everything, but it has never been more expensive, and there is no way to get it cheaper if it keeps going this route where like half of everything is on streaming services and the other half's on cable. We got to find a middle ground.
How about me? I subscribe to everything.
Yeah,
I'm subscribed to every streaming service there is and don't have time to watch any of it.
Right.
I can't watch anything, but I'm subscribed to it.
Yeah. I'm not liking this new era. I'm really not.
Well, Bennett, it's what you voted for.
Mm-hmm. That's what it's the other, like, I was thinking about it. Obviously NFL is like the biggest driver and everything like that. But like when you look at just straight up cable, like, and we're about to be in March Madness, like, bro, how could you enjoy March Madness without cable? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that is the epitome of flipping around. Everything's on at the same time, especially that first weekend. Like, you got to have it.
It's a complicated world out there, Bennett.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna pretend that I know how to make it make sense, but Netflix could be buying a big NFL package. That's the headline from this morning. We'll see how it goes.
Number 5.
Hey, I gather you guys are having a snow day. Bennett, you have a snow day? Did you wake up to the beautiful snow? Is it a snow day? Is everybody out of school?
Yeah, everyone's out of school. There's a few flurries still outside as well. It's not as big as the last one. I feel like there was more snow. Yeah, I feel like there was more snow this last one that we had a couple weeks back. But this one there's a little more ice, so maybe the roads were a little more treacherous than they were the last time. But it's nice, man. I love looking at it. Yeah. Oh, hey.
Look what I woke up to. I got that's Lou. That's little Lou in the backyard.
See, that ain't a lot of snow. You can almost see the grass.
Oh, Bennett, don't ruin it. I mean, look how happy he is.
I'm saying, like, it wasn't as it was more of a. It was a nice dusting, I feel
Bennett,
like.
Why do you want to ruin it? Look how happy he is.
Well, that's the problem is my kid wants to go sledding, and I'm like, dude, I'm not trying to get like a like land on a rock, going down a sled like I did last time because there's not enough snow on the ground.
One day, Bennett, your children aren't even going to ask you to play in the snow with them, and you'll regret this.
Oh, I mean, we're going to go do it, but
doesn't sound like you're excited about it.
No, we're gonna go do it. I just I hope my butt's okay.
One day you're going to be an older man with an even grayer beard, and you're going to go, man, I'd kill for one of my boys just to ask me to come outside and play on some ice with them.
Well, we're gonna go do it, so I won't even have to think about it. I'm creating memories every day, bro.
You think I'm going to be able to land back in Memphis? Okay, I got a flight today.
Yeah, because it looks like it's pretty easy to clear. Like I was able to get here pretty easily today. I think it's gonna clear up. Yeah, I think you're gonna be okay. They're gonna clear those runways for you.
All right. Well, I hope so. If so, I'll see you at Memphis International in just a bit, and be back in studio tomorrow morning. Be back with GP's Carryout.
Grizzlies fans, dunks, dimes, and no-looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching them IRL. And that starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight in person. From seeing your favorite Grizzlies stars up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. Put that jersey collection to use and get tickets at Ticketmaster. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside, Memphis.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Durant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans, and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing in FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
A night of comedy with Sebastian Maniscalco and Jim Gaffigan.
Now, is this a family? Is this your mother? Where is she? Is she in the crowd? You don't know where your mom is. The mom's up there. What kind of family is this? I'm sorry.
Sebastian Maniscalco and Jim Gaffigan.
I went ziplining for the last time. What is wrong with us? Would you pay $200 to feel like you're about to die 6 times?
Live in Memphis, FedEx Forum, Friday, February 21st. Get tickets now at livenation.com.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. I'm in New York City. Bennett Doyle back in Memphis, producing things inside the Built Ford Tough studio. Let's wrap this up with GP's Carryout.
It's time for GP's Carryout. One final segment filled with stuff to take with you. It's not everything you need to know, but it's most of it. What did we learn today?
Whole bunch of stuff, but we mostly focused in the opening hour on the contrast between NHL All-Star festivities and NBA All-Star festivities because, buddy, they couldn't be more different. One day after the United States and Canada were literally fist-fighting each other on ice, we had the NBA All-Star game that, once again, the players told us they do not care about. So everybody's trashing the NBA All-Star game once again. Meantime, was set for a title game of this new event connected to NHL All-Star festivities tomorrow night in Boston, and tickets are going the cheapest. $800 each. Cheapest. Worst seat in the house. Roughly $800. It's comparable to Game 7 of a Stanley Cup final. Comparable to a Super Bowl price. Now, I know there are more tickets available for a Super Bowl than there are for a hockey game being played in a hockey arena, but still, you get the point. This is a made out of thin air thing. This is not something that's got a ton of history and tradition connected to it. This is the first year of this event. But the players just decided we're going to care about it. And what we've learned is that if you show sports fans you care, then sports fans will care right along with you. I don't watch hockey, know very little about it. But tomorrow night, when the United States and Canada play in Boston, I will have that on my television. And that will be the main thing I'm watching, not college basketball, not anything else. If you care deeply about the thing you're competing for, care deeply about the competition in front of me, then I don't have to be the biggest hockey fan to enjoy it. I just enjoy competition. We talked about that a lot in the first hour. PK Subban on ESPN yesterday I thought was terrific talking about it. So we'll see exactly how it plays out tomorrow night. But the NHL has done a tremendous job of creating an event that people are now attaching themselves to. And the way they did it is they got the players to care about it. And now at least two countries care about it deeply. It'll be in prime time tomorrow night.
What's today's biggest game?
Well, the NBA is restarting tonight, so let's go there. 9 o'clock tip. Hornets at Lakers inside Crypto.com Arena. The Lakers are 12.5-point favorites coming off the All-Star break. Total's 228.5. Bennett, how you going to act?
God, this is tough. 12.5. I kind of want to take the Hornets. Is that weird?
Well, these two franchises, of course, made a trade right before the trade deadline that was rescinded, so there could be bad blood.
I don't think my guy's playing in it, though. Isn't he, away from the team? My guy
Mark Williams?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's hurt, forever now. He might never play basketball again. Charlotte tried to trade him to the Lakers, and the Lakers put him to a physical, and they were like, he's broken.
Yeah,
we'll give him back.
LeBron's a game-time decision. I bet he'll play. Give me the Lakers. I changed my mind. This
Bennett
feels weird. I hate this. Yeah,
Bennett
I don't
has
like
changed
this
his
one.
mind. He says take the Lakers minus 12.5. Tip at 9 o'clock. You can find it on League Pass.
What are we watching on TV?
Well, let's go to the thing Vernon was bragging about, the thing Bennett said he wanted to watch. Court of Gold has dropped on Netflix. It takes a look at the United States Olympic team that won a gold medal over the summer. 6 episodes. They're all available. You can stream it right now. Netflix.com.
What's the best thing we've read?
I don't know if it's the best thing, but I did write about Wisconsin in the top 25 and 1, specifically John Tonje, who is somebody you probably don't know, but he's a transfer from Missouri who's now at Wisconsin. Spent the first 4 years of his college career at Colorado State. Then he transferred to Missouri, only played 8 games last season. Then he transferred to Wisconsin. In the offseason transfer portal rankings at 24/7 Sports, he was ranked as the 296th best transfer in the country. 296. He's now averaging 19 points a game for a Wisconsin team that's in the top 10. He'd probably be a first-team All-American right now. Imagine that. He was ranked 296 in the transfer portal. And now he's probably, if you were submitting a ballot today, a first-team All-American in the Big Ten. So if you haven't read it yet, you can go check it out. Find it. It's on the homepage, cbssports.com.
What's on tap for tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow's Thursday. Hopefully I'll be back in studio. Got a flight home today. So first I got to make it. I got to get there. And then after that, we got to travel safely and land without flipping over. There's a lot of variables that, a lot of stuff's got to go right for me today. But assuming it does, I'll be in studio tomorrow. We'll be getting ready for the restart of the Grizzlies season. Mike Wallace, my colleague at Grind City Media, should join me in the second segment. Looking forward to it already. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll enjoy mine. And we'll meet back here tomorrow at 10. Till then, be careful, be kind, be good. Rep your hood.